Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Shiv here. Today we're going to cover even more cards from the mean streets of Gadgetzan. Some of them are cool, some of them are low, some of them are wait and see. So without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so the first card we got is the Sea Devil Stinger. This card is a Murloc card. It's a 4/2. Battlecry, the next Murloc you play this turn costs health instead of mana. Now, you notice I'm not overly hyped about this card. Mostly because the only place I see this having some really good validity is in Wild, because Old Murkai exists. This could be like a power play to basically, do a quick strike attack on your opponent's face and get some real value off of it. Generally right before they go for the big AoE turn. That way you can at least punish them as maximum as possible. And I see that as kind of reality. In a typical standard matchup, however, we might actually see people experimenting around with Zoo Murloc again, trying to make this work. But I just don't see it as overly good, to be perfectly honest with you. Mostly because Old Murkai doesn't exist in standard. So that's kind of a thing you have to really consider here. But the really cool synergy I did think about this is playing this down, and then if you've got any other Murlocs on the board, then this makes perfect sense. You spend the 3 life to summon out Cold Light Seer and give everybody the +2 health, and then all of a sudden you paid 4 mana for a 4/4 Murloc, as well as 3 more life in order to make sure it stays at 4/4, and you're also giving buff to the rest of your board. So that's kind of a cool thing right there. But with the amount of AoEs that I'm seeing just going to be all over this expansion, I don't think it's going to be a viable concept. So right there, probably not. But it's a cool card in theory, but just not practical. Alright, next up we've got the Bomb Squad. Now, this is a card that's basically going to shape the meta for some time. 5 mana for a 2/2. Battlecry, deal 5 damage to an enemy minion, or the Death Rattle is going to be deal 5 damage to your hero. So that Death Rattle is really punishing. So you have to think very strategically of how this card's going to be good. And the answer is you have no board, but there's a Sylvanas out on the board. Yeah, okay. Like, I will trade the rest of my shit on my board into Sylvanas and leave it just barely alive just to play Bomb Squad to gain that advantage. Yes, they end up taking my 2/2, which might actually be kind of a mistake. But if I'm also going to be able to trade out on that 2/2 and deal 5 damage to face, that could inevitably lead to a situation to where I can win. So for that, I kind of like it. I really do. The downside is, this really is not going to change how the N'Zoth decks work overly that much. So if you're thinking this is going to remove Sylvanas from those decks, you're completely fucking wrong. But will it possibly reduce its play in, say, Druid? Yes, very, very possible. Will we see it replacing the value in, say, Hunter? Yes, definitely. So it's kind of like a neutral option to give to players, but I don't think it's going to be overly that great. But it could possibly lead to some meta shifts involving Sylvanas. Alright? So all of a sudden, Karin is looking a lot better than Sylvanas right now. It is possible. But all in all, we'll have to kind of wait and see on it. Alright, next up we have the Backstreet Leper. 3 mana, 3/1, Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to an enemy hero. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not overly impressed with this card. I think this card is kind of bad. The original Leper Gnome, when it was a 2/1, that card was a fucking powerhouse. So basically bumping it up 1 attack and now costing it at 3, I'm never gonna play it. I mean, outside of a completely, face rush, all damage, face type deck, I'm never gonna play it. Really, I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna play it, but I'm not gonna feel good about it, alright? I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm not gonna feel good about it. The cool thing about the Leper Gnome is because you played it on turn 1, if your opponents didn't have an instant answer for it, i.e. coin out hero power or bring out some sort of AoE that just cleared it off, you were always in a really bad situation. If it hit your face once, that 1 mana equated out to, at minimum, 4 damage. That's pretty fucking huge. Like, there was no other value to damage card in the game that was as effective as the Leper Gnome. And here, this just feels like it's nowhere near that value again, which is probably a good thing because they don't want to keep repeating the same mistakes from the past. So, will I play this card? Maybe in a completely aggressive deck, but outside of that, no. Next up, we've got the Fellfire Potion. 6 mana, deal 5 damage to all characters. Now, I've been saying for a bit there's a lot of AoE going on in this game. And surprise, surprise, it all resides in Potion, which means 3 classes have a huge amount of AoEs available to them. Oh, guess what? Those 3 classes have always had a huge amount of AoEs to them. Mage, Warlock, and Priest. So, yeah, because the Chemist, this card is going to be able to possibly be used by those 2 other classes besides Warlock. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this is an option I'm given, I'm probably going to take this over a lot of other options. Hands down. Just hands down. The fact of the matter that it deals damage to my face is kind of shitty, but it also deals damage to my opponent's face as well, which depending on the deck I'm playing could actually be quite beneficial. I think this card is definitely fucking amazing. It shuts down so many aggressive decks, but that damage you're going to take to your face might be somewhat problematic. So this is like if you're trying to go for, say, a Dragonfire Potion, but you get the Fellfire Potion instead, it's kind of like, you know, your second choice. It's not a great choice, but it's your second choice that you definitely want to take. For that, I think this card's actually pretty damn decent. It's pretty damn decent. Alright. Moving on, next card. Blood Fury Potion. 3 mana. Give a minion plus 3 attack. If it's a demon, also give it plus 3 health. Now, if this was give all minions plus 3 attack, that would be fucking amazing. But no. Instead, what we get is a shittier version of Demon Fire. And I say it's shittier because at least Demon Fire had you could also use it for damage to remove a minion option. This, however, is pretty much, turn your 1/3 into a 4/6. That's kind of cool, but not really, in all honesty. And if you get this off the Chemist and you're not a fucking Warlock, you're gonna feel pretty fucking shitty and probably never pick it. So raises up the value of the other 2 cards that you're gonna get off that. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this card, and I don't think we're gonna see much play out of it, to be perfectly honest. Alright, next up we've got the Cabal Crystal Runner. 6 mana, 5/5. Now, a lot of people looked at this and said, oh my god, it's a worse thing from below. And in some cases, you are absolutely 100% right. This is a worse thing from below. But it's a little bit more efficient and less efficient than Thing from Below. And here's why. Thing from Below, you have to pay 2 mana to get 1 reduction. Right? Here, you're paying 3 mana and a card out of your hand to get 2 reduction. And let us not forget, there's a 1 mana card now, that is a minion, that's going to make a secret cost 0. So all of a sudden, this is not worse than Thing from Below, but it's not better than Thing from Below either. I would say it is probably a little worse than Thing from Below, because at least that you can always just use your hero power to get the value on, where this you're actually having to expend cards out of your hand in order to get that value from. So I don't really like this overly that much. In Wild, this card's actually pretty decent because, oh, lo and behold, you can still play Mad Scientist on that, and that'll still cause this to get that reduction. So, but outside of that, no, I'm not a huge fan of this. I've played Secret Mage type decks before during the early days, and they were just never as consistent as you'd like them to be. Alright, next up we got the Toxic Sewer Ooze. 3 mana, 4/3. It's literally noxious when he's pissed off. Alright. Battlecry. Remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. Why does that seem familiar? Oh, Bloodsail Corsair? Yeah! Alright, so it's literally a buffed up Bloodsail Corsair. It's a huge buffed up Bloodsail Corsair, as a matter of fact. Now, the only difference is, this is actually a Bloodsail Corsair that people will want to play. I'm gonna tell you right now, curve-wise, this card is fucking amazing. If you're up against the Warrior, haha, Firing Wind Axe, haha, fuck you! Downside here, they have to at least use the Firing War Axe to trade first, then playing this. Thus, you reduce the value that they could have gotten off that Firing War Axe, and you now have a 4/3 on the board, which I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, right? A 4/3 on 3 is rather difficult for a lot of classes to deal with, alright? Now, in the case of Warrior, they're going to have to bash it, which means they're not developing a board. So that tempo swing comes right back to you anyway. If they bring out another axe, boom, they're still taking 4 damage to the face to remove it, okay? There's no way in hell they're going to play a Frothing Berserker because, well, it dies. Unless they can also somehow injure the Frothing Berserker, which all of a sudden you're looking at the 0 mana cost spell that they have. So yeah, it's not really good. Against Hunter, holy shit, yeah, let's fuck with Hunters. Like, oh, Eaglehorn Bow. I don't give a fuck what kind of hunter you are. You play Eaglehorn Bow, you're attacking either face with it or tempo trading with it the moment it hits the board. Alright, you have to get that value quickly because you're going to want to get that sustained value off your secrets. Well, cool, you played your bow on 3, this comes down, your bow is now gone, and I have a 4-3 on the board before you got any of your secrets set up. And I guarantee you this is not a card you want to fucking throw back in your opponent's hand to get another value, because this is a tech choice you make against weapon classes. Now, obviously, against Doomhammer, this ain't shit. This is absolutely fucking terrible. But, Now, I'd also like to point out there is a little synergy here with Bronzebeard, alright? Yes, there is. Oh, I can now remove 2 durability off your weapon. Yeah, I don't think I really want to spend 6 mana to develop a 2/4, a 4/3, and remove a 2 durability weapon. I don't think that's a really good play. I think of much better plays like Sylvanas, Cairn, Moonblade Portal. I'm just saying, there are way better options out there. But it is kind of a cool afterthought. Alright, moving forward. Raza the Jade, 5 mana, 5/5, Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. Now, initially I looked at this card, I went, oh my god, this could be amazing! And then I started thinking about it, I was like, no, not really. Alright? And the reason why I'm saying no, not really, is the reason why people thought this was going to be amazing is suddenly Shadow Priest becomes a thing. Oh my god, now Shadow Form has value. Right, 1 copy of it. 1 copy of Shadow Form. Read the fucking card, god damn it, people. Alright? It's a Reno style deck. You're not going to be able to basically pay 0 mana, deal 3 damage to your opponent. It just does not work that way. Alright? Can't do it. Even if you tried, it's just not going to happen. Alright? So, the whole concept of being able to do a Shadow Form deck, not nearly as effective. The whole concept of doing some sort of OTK burst deck, a little bit more viable, and it is actually feasible, but you're going to need things like Velen's, Emperor Chosen, Flash of Light, and things of that nature to basically come up with this 30 damage burst, which you can do, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to get the right sequence of cards in your hand and get the reduction. Therein lies the trick, alright? Because it's a Reno style deck, your consistency of being able to get these cards and or drawing to these cards is reduced quite significantly, alright? But Priest does have a lot of really cool tools that could possibly carry them to that point. So we'll have to wait and see on this. We really will have to wait and see. It is going to be feasibly possible that this is actually going to be how Priests are going to run. It's going to be Reno OTK by Priest. It is possible. It is. It's not overly good, but it is possible. Alright. Moving on to the next card, we've got the Jade Blossom. Now, this is going to be the last card we're going to talk about. The Jade Blossom, 3 mana, Druid card, summon a Jade Golem, gain an empty mana crystal. You what, mate? No, seriously, what the fuck? This card has the potential of being extremely broken. Nobody knows what exactly a Jade Golem is. And that is what's pretty much keeping everybody guessing whether or not this card is going to be super powerful or super not. Even if the Jade Golem is a 0/4 taunt, right? Let's say that's what it is, 0/4 taunt. Holy shit. This card's actually pretty damn good. Even if it has no attack value, but just pure defensive value. The card's pretty fucking good. Even if this is like a 2/2, this card's pretty fucking good. At a 1/1, it's pretty fucking bad. But, here's the thing. Most 3-drops in a Druid lineup cannot be played on 3. Most of them can, alright? Obviously, Mounted Raptor can, but outside of that, no, not really. There's not, I mean, Feral Rage, hell no. Savage Roar, hell no. Alright, Mulch, hell no. So, Druids have never really had a really good 3-drop, and now they do. Now they got a great 3-drop. And in all honesty, it gives validity to Coin Wild Growth. Coin Wild Growth, Jade Blossom, all of a sudden you're turn 3, you're at 5 mana. And you got whatever a fucking Jade Golem is, alright? That is a win-win no matter how you try to look at it. And guess what? You can follow it up by Mire Keeper. Holy shit, you're turn 4, you're at what, 7? I mean, come on, guys. Jesus. That is fucking amazing. I mean, this is basically taking one of the weaknesses that Druid classes had and reducing that quite significantly. I think that this card is definitely going to see a shit ton of play. And I think it's exactly what Druids need to give themselves a little bit more consistency. Because as we've been seeing in tournament play, Druids have been some of the most inconsistent decks other than in the mirror matches. That's about it. They only are winning in the mirror matches. They're losing to a lot of decks they're quote-unquote favored against quite significantly. Because everybody's played Druid. Everybody knows all the mechanics of it. And he who gets the better fucking outlay in the beginning generally ends up winning those matches. It's God's honest truth. We've seen that time and time again in tournaments. So, for fact. Alright. Now, before we end this video, I want to talk about a little subject here. Recently, we had a lot of people taking a very interesting stand about the whole voting for the next card reveal. A lot of people said it was rigged. A lot of people said, why even bother? It's rigged. It's going to go through, whatever. Well, guess what, guys? The counter ended at 57.3% or some bullshit like that, because you guys basically felt that everybody else would carry this so you could see what the card is without actually being interacting with it. So congratulations, you done goofed. Alright? I mean, this card just looks fucking amazing. I mean, this could have been like the greatest card ever, but no. Obviously a Warlock, obviously it's something with a demon. You know, but we're never going to get to know now until they finally do the last dump. Okay, so thanks, guys. All right? That apathy of effort because you feel other people carry you along is exactly why a reality TV star won the election here in the United States. So, GG on that. But anyway, that's going to be all for this review. If you like these videos, please like, subscribe, leave some commentary down below. Let me know what you guys think about, you know, cool card synergies or whatever else. All right? Until next time, it's Shiv saying stay safe, have fun, and RNGs bless you. Peace.